So when they pick apartments for the missionaries, especially for the sister missionaries, they usually try to pick something that's nice. So some of the places where I lived, it was one of the nicest places in town. And we have like a little air conditioning unit, which is great because otherwise you would die. And then in the winter, we have a heating unit and blankets, so you shouldn't suffer too much while you're sleeping. The bathroom is usually just tiled, and then it has the toilet and the shower, which there's usually not like a shower curtain or anything. You just squeegee the water out and everything in the whole bathroom gets wet, but it's not a big deal. Always wear your flip-flops everywhere. Never let your feet touch Paraguay, ever. just for the bugs, just in case, you never know. I usually didn't have too many bugs in my apartments, but sometimes we had like cockroaches and spiders. One time there was a scorpion under my companion's bed, but we smashed it, so it was okay. And for transportation, and there's a couple cities in the mission, so you might use buses. We usually used them when we were moving from one area to another, so going to district conferences or district meetings, or visiting the mission home, we would go on a bus. There's the city buses, and then every time you move an area, you get on a bigger bus, like a tour bus, where they put your suitcase underneath and you go all around town. There are a few areas with bikes, not very many. I never used a bike. I walked everywhere, so make sure you get really good shoes. The streets, and most of the streets in Argentina and Paraguay are either going to be just dirt, or they're going to be these streets called empedrados, which are basically like someone took a sledgehammer to a boulder, crushed it up into rocks about this big, that are all like sharp and spiky, and then just made a street out of them. So you're just kind of like walking like this on all these sharp rocks, and when it rains, it pours. So all of the dirt streets are then going to be mud or like puddles. So you kind of be like wading a little bit. Sometimes to my ankles, I would walk through the water. But at least on the empedrados, when it rains, you don't get covered in mud. You just walk on wet rocks. So that was slightly better in the rain. Argentina is infamous for the number of holidays they have, which I think is over 30. So every time there's a holiday, everything closes down and everyone just takes the day off. At least in my experience, I don't know. And so that kind of made the work hard for us. It was either really good because people were available to talk, or they were having a big barbecue and a party and they didn't want to see us. But there are lots of fun holidays, like lots of dances and cultural events that are part of the culture, which is really fun to be a part of and to be included in that. In Argentina, they have hand signals that they use a lot, which I really enjoy. One of them is this, which is like, ¿Qué pasa? What are you doing? Or there's this one, which means I don't know. Let's see. The people in general in both Paraguay and Argentina are really friendly. They love Americans. They think it's cool that you're there. They want to talk to you. Most everyone is Catholic in the areas where I served. There are quite a few Christians too as well, but the majority are Catholic. And they have lots of, like Mary is a big deal, the Saint Mary. So one of the hardest things with the members is that you go to their house every day for lunch, and then they just want to chat with you all afternoon during the siesta. But you kind of have to keep the balance between being friends with them, but also telling them, hey, we need to go out and do work. And so we would try to leave lunch and go out and meet with people it was sometimes hard because everyone would be sleeping. And so oftentimes we would go tracting. If we could have appointments, that was always the best option. We tried to keep it creative, looking for people who are just out walking during the siesta or open doors during the siesta. Just kind of looking for anyone that's available and is not sleeping. The school system in my areas was not very strong, especially in some of my areas in Paraguay. About everyone over the age of 30 can't read or write, which makes it kind of hard for giving assignments in the Book of Mormon. You have to read to them. So reading becomes a big part of what we do as missionaries because they've never really had a lot of experience being able to directly hear from the scriptures. And it's one thing to read it to them, but when you read, you also need to help them interpret what it means because the reading comprehension skills aren't quite what we're used to. So we usually go through like each phrase and each word and help them understand. And you can kind of see the light bulb go on when they start to get it and start to understand what the scriptures mean and start to feel the Spirit, which is really great.